I'm Rob from Venturi Fab, and this is Merle Hazard. What's left of my 1989 K5 Blazer. I say what's left because I've changed everything on this truck, not because it's destroyed. There's just not a whole lot of K5 Blazer left here. So we just got back from our trip to the Rubicon, where I took this truck, finished putting it together at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then drove to the Rubicon with a bunch of other full-size trucks, wheeled hard all weekend. Everyone had a great time. Everyone broke. Everyone made it out together as a unit. And today we're gonna go over what went right, what went wrong, what broke, what we're upgrading, what did great, the whole shabam, if you will. So for those of you that are new here, this is Merle Hazard's, a 1989 K5 Blazer that we've built on this channel. There's a whole playlist of just about everything that's done to this. So we're gonna break this video down into 3 parts. Number 1, for the new people, or if you would like a refresher, we're gonna go over everything that's done to Merle. Second part, we're gonna go over everything I broke and everything that did great. We're gonna go over how everything performed driving to, on the Rubicon, and driving home. And number 3, I'm gonna give you the rundown on what's next, what we're fixing, what we're changing, what we're improving, so that next time he does even better. So without further ado, let's get into it, boys. So I reckon we'll start from the outside and work our way in. Obviously, this truck's sitting on 40-inch tires. There's a lot that had to happen for that to happen. So we'll do a perimeter walk here. Number 1, we got this bumper that we made. Additionally, this is as I got home from the Rubicon. So like normally, right, this strap isn't here. This trail fix, we'll get into that. So we got 2 bumpers, we got tube sliders, and a rear bumper that's like 3/4 finished. We are sitting on 17x9 Mickey Thompsons and 40-inch Maxxis Razor MT tires. These tires did great. I'm not beadlocked, so I only dropped down to like 10 PSI for the whole weekend. Beadlocks are definitely on the upgrade list. I would have loved to run a lower tire pressure, among other things, but for being at 10 PSI all weekend, I never lost a bead. They did great traction-wise. They did great on the highway driving to the Rubicon. They did great on the back roads limping home from the Rubicon. So I am extensively happy with these tires. So let's get into the suspension. So Merle is Dana 60 swapped. Let me sit down here. So Merle is sitting on a Dana 60. We've got Rough Stuff diff covers, 513 Yukon gears, and an ARB locker in the front. We also have Rough Stuff's high steer kit with a hydro assist ram for the steering to turn these big old tires on the rocks. See all that all tucks up nice and high, and none of this got messed with or damaged on the Rubicon at all. We've got 14-inch travel Bilstein shocks in the front with some hoops into the engine bay. And then my lower mounts for those also gusset the inner C on the axle, as well as chromoly axle shafts. So it's pretty beefy up front. And we're on the 52-inch rear springs. So those are the springs that were originally on the back of this truck, are now on the front of this truck. We also did the ORD upgraded shackle hanger giddy up that's got a larger bolt that goes through here, as well as larger serviceable bushings. We also have CFM front hangers, which I could make hangers myself, but these are super affordable and they bolt on, they fit great, and they let you use just about whatever spring you want up front with all this adjustment in the perch. So those are great. I'm real happy with those. Oh, and you can see we tapped our box for the hydraulic assist. You can see I loop the lines down in front of the engine mount and then down and around. Looks like in the course of driving home, those have touched my header, so I'm going to have to remedy that situation. Luckily, I didn't do that while we were driving, but that's what happens when you test things out for the first time. You find out where your problems are. So, on the rear, whoa, whew, the sun is killing me. On the rear, we also have CFM mounts for my front spring hanger for the same reason. They bolt up, they fit great, they save me a ton of time, and you have a ton of adjustment for your spring position. The rear is Off-Road Designs shackle hanger or shackle flip with one of their heavy duty shackles, and then I've got the 63-inch Chevy springs in the back. Also a Rough Stuff diff cover back here, and disc brake conversion also from Rough Stuff. When they were still in business, they were local, so I could just go there and pick everything up. It was great. Although I hear they did some people dirty online, so they're not there anymore. All our brake lines on the whole truck are stainless and braided stainless for the soft lines. We've got the pinion guard, and then I have my shock set up to a cross member I built back there in kind of an A configuration. We've got the Venturi Fab Stealth onboard air system, which worked flawlessly all weekend. Ran my air lockers all weekend. I had a little bit of an air leak in one of the fittings that I had to track down after day one. But other than that, I mean, the amount of air, even with the leak that it was using was sipping. It could have easily ran my lockers all weekend without needing to top it off, because I don't have an onboard compressor yet. I just use my Morphlate that I use forever to pump up tires and all that stuff. So that worked great. This truck also has a full stainless exhaust with a ridiculously gaudy crossover system. It's a Z pipe. I wanted to get real fancy when I was making that. And then we go to the front. We've got Doug Thorley long tube headers. This is going to need to change in the future revisions because this is going to be a problem moving forward. These are two-wheel drive headers and this hangs down way too low. What's left of an NP241 transfer case. I say that because it's making a ruckus on the way home and I have no idea what's wrong with it yet. I haven't torn it apart, but it's less than ideal in there. We'll go with that. So that's about it for the outside. Let's go inside, go over everything in there, and then we're going to show you the beating that Merle took on the Rubicon, which partially my fault, partially the fact that it's a giant truck on a trail mostly populated by little baby Jeeps and Toyotas and all those normal sized vehicles. So inside is where this truck is fantastic. We got B&M gate shifter, perp wheel. I love this wheel. It was great all weekend. All my exterior lights are controlled with this aux beam panel. And then we have a full interior roll cage that I built. And the roof of the truck is plated, not plated, but paneled in bead rolled aluminum. Got our first fire extinguisher right here. I've seen I've seen enough vehicles catch on fire over the years. I put fire extinguishers in everything because I'm an old man and I'm paranoid. So I have one here where the driver or passenger can get to it super easy. And we have one there on the other side where when I'm wheeling, right, you got the top up, where anyone can get to this super easily. And this is just a pull the pin. It's hard to do one-handed, but pull the pin, you got a fire extinguisher. So big on not burning my truck down. So in the back here, we've got ye olde Escalade seats from like a 2009 Escalade. We made the mounts for those. Like I said, our cage extends to the back here. Everything's super triangulated and built into nodes and together, super strong the way it's built. And we've got plates that tie the main hoop into the seatbelt mounts to additionally tie the cage to the body for extra rigidity. And then we got some inexpensive Rockville speakers back there because you need some sweet tunes when you're wheeling all the time. Bedline the whole floor. Trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. I know that there's some stuff I'm missing. Either way, that's mostly it. You get the general idea. There's a ton of videos about this Blazer on this channel that'll tell you anything you want to know. And before too long here, I think after this next round of upgrades, we're going to do a real detailed breakdown of what's going on with this truck, because he's about to level up a couple levels and be real nasty for the next run. So let's get to what broke. So let's just address the elephant in the room right out of the gate. Yes, I flopped on my side. Followed a little billy goat of a Toyota somewhere I shouldn't have followed him, and came down off this ledge a little cattywampus. And I don't really know if it's just I fell into that hole or the top heaviness from having the roll cage and maybe my truck's a little bit too tall, or if it was the fact that these shocks, while they're great, right? I have Bilstein 5100s on this truck, 14-inch travel on the front, 12s in the back. They're fantastic shocks. But when you load my big butt in here and my buddy and all our camping gear and all this tube work and all this extra weight, it was just a bit too much for him. If you watch our wheeling video on how, like, on this whole trip through the Rubicon, you'll be able to see it's real bouncy. There's not enough shock there at all. So it also could have easily been coming off that ledge, and that soft shock just gave it a little bit too much sway. It didn't dampen it enough and let it kind of bounce into it, because it was a real soft tip, just a real slow flop over on its side. But it missed the door. It's just right here, right behind the door. Honestly, I feel like I can take care of most of this with a football. If you don't know that trick, deflate a ball, put it between your panels, pump air into the ball, pop your dent out, and then a little bit of hammer dolly work, be good enough. It was bound to happen eventually, because I didn't build this truck to sit in my driveway. I built this truck to go run things over and have a great time with. So obviously with that, my mirror did not survive. That's okay, because I was already planning on making rad mirrors for this anyways. And then the front, I didn't trim it enough going into this, so all my kind of trim edges got kind of tore up a little bit, and I had to do some extra trimming on the trail because it was rubbing pretty hard right out of the gate, and that's on both sides. We got that one. This front was flexing flexing up so hard into here that it ripped my rock lights off and pulled this lip down. So I think there's that. Trim that a little bit more. We had to do some extra trimming here. And then the only other real damage that Merle took, that again looks worse than it is I came off a ledge and found a root that I didn't know was there with my parking light. So it punched that in a little bit. So we're gonna have to hit that with the slide hammer, knock that back out. The real fun damage though is under here. So as you saw in that video, I was fighting driveline issues. Let me grab my driveline and we can go over that. So this isn't necessarily the fault of the driveline. The driveline initially worked great. The problem is that this slip isn't long enough for what my Blazer needs. So we had made that little ghetto limiting strap. That's the strap wrapped around on the front. And while it limited my travel enough under normal driving, or normal driving, when we're flexing the heck out of this thing, it did great. It never pulled it, except for if we were like climbing up a steep ledge, and everything had like this super silty sand on it. So everything slicked over, everything was slick. And so it'd be climbing that, and all your weight shifted to the back, right? So your front end's already light because you're climbing up some steps or whatever. And then if you got a little bit too greedy with the gas, it would hop. But with these 52-inch springs, I love them because they're soft and they flex amazingly. They ride great on the road. They're awesome. But because they're flat and soft, when you got lockers and big tires and all that stuff and you start hopping at all, they wrap a little bit. And that wrap was like just that last little bit that driveline was hanging on by. And so it'd yank it apart. And I think a lot of my problems actually came from that. So solution to that, obviously, need a new driveline. We're going to need a new driveline and a rear driveline anyways, because this T-case is smoked from the drive home, as you could tell. Number one, going over all these ledges, we took a huge hit on my cross member. You can see it folded up the bottom in there. Dang near ripped the mount off of the transmission. It's all folded back. This space right here, you used to be able to put your fist there because we rotated this transfer case up like 15 degrees. So it used to hang way down here. If we hadn't rotated this case up, I guarantee you the hit that took out this would have taken out this with it. I would have been busted transfer case in the middle of the trail. So I am real happy I clocked that up. But obviously, this is going to need to be addressed. It's suboptimal, if you will. Honestly, for the most part, that's it. I mean, I did drive it home. Got all the way home. We had to go slow and take back roads because I didn't know if that T-case was going to make it home or if it was going to collapse and destroy itself while we were driving. Like 300 feet from home, which if it spits that chain out, that's either gonna spit it to the bottom of the case and now it's quiet and you're fine, or it's gonna wedge it up at the top and lock up your drivetrain and then you're going for a ride. So we cruised home all 75 miles doing like 20. But we made it. Like I said, I just fired it up right now and backed it up here to do this video. But definitely going to need to be addressed. So that's what happened. Let's talk about the plan moving forward. So moving forward's a little tricky. We're going to have to do this in kind of a staged arrangement. because me being me, stacked events on top of each other. So Rubicon was last weekend. In like 2.5 weekends, we have C10 Intervention in Woodland, California. So if you're local, go. It's an awesome show. There's so many fantastic trucks there. Not a whole lot of like rock crawler stuff like Merle. It's a lot of like show trucks and bagged out C10s and 20s with custom air ride and 4 links and like a bunch of $200,000 trucks and stuff. It's a killer time. But there is going to be a group of us. At least as long as no one changes their plans according to having to fix their own stuff, there should be a good little group of us and a handful. I think we're all planning on rolling in together. So there should be a little section of really cool, heavily used off-road rigs. So if you're local or local enough, I encourage you to go. It's September 6th. It'll be a lot of fun. If you do go, make sure you come say hi to me. And so we need to get Merle drivable by then. I cannot drive to Woodland with that transfer case the way that it is. So I had some upgrades that I had been planning on making, but I was going to wait until after this winter because I wanted to wheel a season on like the stock T case and stuff so that we could hit a bunch of the local trails around here, do the stock T case, and then put all my crazy geared down stuff in that in-between time, right? Like when the snow's crappy, but it's still not good enough for like spring wheeling yet, right? That little dead zone is when I was planning on doing this, but this has kind of forced my hand. So we're going multi-case like now. So I'm gonna show you what we're gonna be putting in here. I'm gonna have to redo my exhaust. I'm gonna have to get new headers because those headers are not gonna work with this setup. We are going, let's get in where it's light. We are going to flat belly Merle to the best of my ability. I'm gonna get all my drivetrain stuff tucked up as high and tight as I possibly can. And we're gonna flat belly Merle and belly skid him. Obviously not in time for C10 intervention because I got like 2 weekends. I can't get that much done in 2 weekends, but I can get it started. I can get these T cases in and I can get the cross members and all that stuff started, get a rear driveline made. Probably gonna have to do something a little ghetto with the exhaust as like a in the middle exhaust because moving all this transfer case stuff up that high is going to get really tight really fast there. I'm probably going to have to reroute my fuel lines and stuff to do it right, which is fine. You know me, I like doing things right and being a bit extra about it. So rest assured, whatever we do settle on after C10 intervention, when I can spend a little bit more time like dialing all this stuff in and all my routing in, we're going to level up the exhaust. We're going to level up the fuel system. We're definitely leveling up the cases. So what we have is a Clune 4-to-1 underdrive. Clune's out of business now, but I got this with the truck. When I bought my Blazer, I got it from a very close friend's dad, and they had been collecting parts for a long time for a build that just turned out it never happened, right? People get old, they get sick, they get life. So that build never happened. And then when it was time for him to let the Blazer go, they wanted to keep it in the family. None of his brothers wanted it. So I bought it with all their parts, and now it's my parts. So we've got a tranny. This is a built 700 R4. This isn't going to go in right away. Reason being, this tranny's been sitting for like 10 or 12 years. I don't know the condition of like the seals and all that stuff inside it. And while I'm fine putting it in and trying it and seeing if everything's good, because that's kind of all you can do without tearing it down, is to maybe like put new gaskets and seals and filters and stuff in the bottom and then run it. I don't have time to mess with that over a 2-weekend period. So we're going to bolt all this stuff to my known good 700 R4 that's in the truck, get our butts to C10 intervention, and then after that, I'll pull the whole stuff out, put that tranny in, make sure it's cool, get all that stuff dialed in at that point. But as I was saying, we've got a Clune 4-to-1 underdrive, an NP205, and I got a triple stick setup from the guys over at JB Custom Fab. So one stick for the range box on the Clune, twin stick for the 205. That's going to be killer, dude. That should be here, I'm guessing sometime in the next few days. We interrupt your regularly scheduled program because it showed up. Look at this bad boy. We got triple stick, Clune, front case, rear case, with our cables, stainless steel shift rods, the adjustable detents, the hardware you need. They even found a bracket that they had from back in the day for the Clune. So this thing is going to be absolutely killer in this bad boy. John over there and the guys over at JB, super awesome. They even tore their shop apart and found a bracket that should work with my Clune, even though Clune's been out of business like forever. So super grateful for those guys. That is going to be awesome. We're going to have a full install video on how to twin stick your 205, how to change out your shift rods, how to do all that. It's getting its whole big own video so that when you guys want to step up your 205, or if you're going to do a range box in front of it, like one of those Magnum boxes from ORD or something, you'll know exactly what to do. And then we'll see what it's like to wheel with this thing, because we're going from the factory crawl ratio, which is like 30-to-1 to 123-to-1, because the front, or the first gear ratio on the 700R4 is 3.06, 4-to-1, 1.96 in the 205, and I've got 513 gears. You do the math, it's like 123 and some change to 1, which is stupid low. That's going to be awesome. So that's kind of our next steps. We're going to do that. I'm going to get these dents in the body of Merle handled. I'm probably not going to be able to have time to get into anything with that front one. We'll see. The biggest thing is just getting them running and driving and getting them cleaned up and getting them there. So going forward, that's our plan. So new super rad drivetrain. We're gonna have to redo a bunch of stuff on the exhaust. And then there's, after that, like the necessary stuff, there's other stuff that I really want to do. I'm working on figuring out what we're gonna do for some better shocks, who I want to go with on those, but we absolutely have to upgrade these shocks. Trying to figure out a solution on some bead locks, so we can run lower tire pressures. And then I had zero cooling issues whatsoever while we were driving, but this is a 350 truck, so it's got the smaller radiator in it. And we're gonna upgrade that to either an aluminum radiator or at least one of the radiator setups from a big block truck. So we'll get an extra core, a little bit bigger surface area, just as like preventative maintenance, so that we don't have any more, not anymore because we didn't have any. So we have more thermal headway, right? Like we reduce the chances of any cooling issues in the future. So, the other thing that we need to upgrade here too. So my power steering, pop the hood. So we got the hydraulic ram in there, the PSC ram, fits great, works great. I love my mount for it. Everything's tucked up, super tight. The problem is, this truck was never Hydro Boost from the factory, and it certainly was never hydraulic assist from the factory. And this is just a regular old vacuum brake power steering pump. So it doesn't make as much pressure as I really need for what we're doing with it now. So I'm trying to figure out what route I want to go with that. In a perfect world, PSE, their pump and stuff setup that's made for these systems would be fantastic. So if you're from PSE, shoot me a message. I'm going to shoot you a message. Let's talk. Let's work something out. Otherwise, the setup's like $2,000. So combined with all this other stuff that I need to fix for the sake of getting back on the road as quick as possible, I'm going to either modify this pump and pull it apart and do all the little trickery that people do with spacers and drilling out orifices and all that stuff inside there to get some more pressure out of this thing, or I'll get a power steering pump for a factory Hydro Boost truck and do all that stuff anyways on top of it, just so that we get some more line pressure out of this. Because there was a couple times when we were wheeling, if I was at idle, my pump wasn't putting out enough pressure to really like give me a good amount of assist on the ram, like when I was bound up. But if I'd like blip the throttle a little bit, I'd spin it up a little quicker and pump that pressure up a little bit, and then it'd be fine. So I know, I'm very confident that it's just we're asking a heck of a lot more of this factory pump than it was ever designed to do. So that's also on our list of things to remedy. But like I said, we made it to the Rubicon. We wheeled hard all weekend. We broke it. We fixed it. We rolled it over. We drove home, sorta. No, we drove home, just slowly. And now we're going to upgrade. We're going to fix. Merle's going to come back in a few weeks 10 times better than he was going in. So in all honesty, kind of thankful everything went down the way that it did, because it put us on the path that we're on now, and he's going to be a bad mamma jamma. I don't know why I keep saying bad mamma jamma on videos, but whatever. Bad mamma jamma. So yeah, if you don't start building your junk and beating the heck out of it and finding what breaks and fixing it and making it better and following the truck circle of life, you'll never get finished.